Alright, welcome back to another Art of War 3 replay. I'm your host, JEONG SINAH, and today we're going to be doing a 1v1 battle. This is a pretty interesting 1v1, so let's go ahead and get into it. We can see that I am getting an early scout onto the water here, just trying to secure those early game resources for base development. And we can see that I am already HQ3 at this time. I'm getting a lot of resources on the water. Red is getting a scout onto my base here. We see a few coyotes in my base there, but I've got a few hammer tanks to deal with the coyotes, so that's no problem. So I'm going to go ahead and get a scout onto Red. Red is going for triple barracks with grenadiers, and we can see Red is still HQ2, so I definitely have the tech advantage and the economy advantage. But here comes a couple gators from the Red player, and my Viking, I tried to target the gator there, but instead my Viking kept just moving forward, and it was for whatever reason the pathfinding was weird, so I lost my Viking to the two gators, and suddenly now I'm under some really heavy pressure. I have nothing to counter these two gators. Thanks to that Viking with its poor pathfinding, I am now in a bad situation. Pressure coming on from these gators. A lot of my critical infrastructure is right next to the water, so I'm going to need to start to build away from the water, and I'm also going to need to start to amass a ground army now. So this is not looking good on my part. I'm suspecting a possible attack from the top side of my base, so I'm going to drop a couple rocket towers in a bunker just to hold off any potential assaults from the Red player. In the meantime, I'm going to need to use a gold reconstruction boost in a little bit just to rebuild my supply centers and my power plants. So you can see I'm just continuing to drop more infrastructure down using gold construction boost to get some structures down more quickly. I tried to get that rocket tower out to hit the gators, but it got destroyed. So I've got 3 rocket towers down now, but none of them are close enough to the gators to hit the gators. And Red's just doing a good job harassing me, putting me under pressure, really forcing me to think on my feet here. Thankfully, I've got a delta in the water, still collecting resources. These gators are busy just attacking my base here. The rocket towers are dishing out some damage against the gators. I'm trying to build towards the water here and trying to reclaim some of that lost space. So now there's 2 gators left from the Red player. Red still exerting some pressure on me. My delta is going to collect the resources from that large container that's going to come in handy. So at this point, I've only got 2 factories to work with and a barracks, so I'm going to start to make some torrents here. I just lost the assault vehicle factory. This is not looking good. Another gold common defense boost gets thrown on. Now that I've got the torrents, now I have the range advantage, and Red knows this, so Red is going to retreat with those 2 gators. So I'm going to redeploy my assault vehicle factory there. So now I've got 4 rocket towers, 2 of them in range of the water. Getting a scout onto Red. Red looks like his HQ3. We see multiple supply centers and a hero factory. So Red is potentially going to go for a ground assault to try and finish me off here. Looks like the gators are back at it again, destroying my construction yard. And the construction yard is going to go down. I'm trying to upgrade a barracks to maybe get some infantry out or heavy assaults. And now we've got 3 points at this point. So Red has to be a little bit careful. I'm continuing to just produce torrents. And now I'm trying to see if I can get a construction yard down. My goal is to get torpedo platforms into the water. If I can get torpedo platforms down, that will allow me to secure the shoreline. So I'm steadily building up my torrent count, trying to get close enough to the water. Here comes a big ground attack from the Red player. I've got infantry mixed with hammer tanks. We see a lot of armadillos, grenadiers, and jaguar tanks in the mix. So I'm going to throw on a gold common attack boost. My hammer tanks are maxed for rank here, so they're going to be able to dish out some good damage. Looks like I've got a fire assault in the mix as well to deal with some infantry. I got to keep those hammer tanks moving, though I cannot let them fully engage the grenadiers. Meanwhile, we see Gator moving back in, trying to dish out damage. Lots of vehicles from the Red player. There's a pretty big army. I don't have the firepower to take this army, but I do have enough firepower to force Red to partially retreat. Looks like Red is going to go for the large resource container. So my hammer tanks are going to retreat. I've got multiple torrents now guarding the shoreline. I'm going to drop torpedo platforms, and now we are in business. I have multiple torpedo platforms to defend my shoreline. That's going to be plenty to keep out the gators from the red player. And now I've got a lot of torrents here, and I'm going to start to use these torrents offensively. I've just been stockpiling torrents. I have practically max command points. I'm going to try to move a ground army onto the red player. I've been struggling for a long time now, and I need to take offensive here. So here we go. We see a nice defensive line from the red player, but all those units are so compacted together, and they are taking a lot of damage from those torrents. We can see I have a ton of torrents, hammer tanks, and assaults. We see there's an airfield and an avia factory from the red player. Red's trying to get some hogs out, but that's not going to happen. And we're going to go ahead and clean up that defensive line from the red player. Red is suddenly in trouble. I have 7 torrents in addition to my ground troops just raining heavy fire onto red. This is making red's life very difficult. And we see 2 more torrents coming in on my side. I've got a hammer tank and some infantry as well. Got pretty full command points at this point. Another gold attack boost gets thrown on, and we can see that red is desperately trying to spam units to defend now. Red is in trouble. Red does not have an answer for these torrents. What is red going to do? We see red's now trying to counter with armadillos and grenadiers. This is not going to work out. We see a coyote as well and a mammoth. Look at the fire from the torrents. The torrents are just annihilating everything the red player tries to send at my ground troops. And now we're trying to move in slowly but surely. I'm really just letting my torrents do the hard work here while my ground troops provide some coverage and additional damage as able. Their main role though is just to keep the torrents covered. If I can protect the torrents, I can really steamroll the red player here. And my torrent count is just continuing to build. Look how many torrents I have. They are just wrecking the space here. And we can see that there's a gator from the red player and a Kane trying to come in for the defense. But again, my torrents are going to outrange everything that red has to throw at me except for mammoths. They can easily deal with mammoths. Grenadier is now trying to close the distance along with that armadillo. But I've got plenty of torrents here, and we're just going to annihilate those infantry. They have no chance whatsoever. More reinforcements coming in for my side. We see some infantry and the torrent as well. We also have a lot of resources here. So potentially I'm going to tech up to HQ4 if I feel the need to, but at this point it's almost the end of the battle. Just continuing to slowly clean up the rest of this red player's base. Looks like red was HQ4. I think red should have probably gone for a full ground army before teching up, but it's a little bit too late for that. I'm going to transition now to a red attack boost at this point. I'm feeling pretty good about my odds of winning this game and making the comeback. And we can see that red's not doing so well at this point. I've cleaned up a lot of really critical factories, and red is just down to spamming lower tier units, which are not going to be able to effectively counter my torrents. So the rest of this game is really just going to be me cleaning up the red player. Hopefully you all enjoyed this battle and enjoyed watching me make the comeback against this red player after I got surprised on the water. Good luck with your battles. We will see you in the next one.